Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about junk volume. I'm going to try to help you refine your programming and get rid of crap that you don't need. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. If you need coaching or a phone consultation, check out the link down below. I have room for 3 clients. All right, junk volume. It's a term I'm starting to hear more and more about. Robert and I talk about this on our live videos on Friday, and if you haven't checked out our live video, check it out 11 Eastern this Friday. But I want to dive into what junk volume is, just to kind of give you guys junk volume 101, have a little bit better understanding, and maybe help you clean up your program. I took a few notes to make sure I didn't miss anything, so I'm going to go over them a little bit. But when it comes to junk volume, junk volume has no defined purpose. It has no real progression approach, no real focus. It simply adds volume for volume's sake. Volume is beneficial to hypertrophy, but it needs to be quality volume. If you're just churning out volume and volume and volume, it has no purpose, no focus, no progression approach, you're going to be like the average guy in the gym, just doing work but not seeing any results. That's why junk volume is very, very important. Volume needs to be good and focused. It needs to have a reason. Every set, every rep needs to have a reason. Your programs need to be challenging to the point where you walk out of the gym feeling like you're worked, but that you can recover before the next session. So, I'm going to dive into some of the specifics when it comes to real-world programming. I'm going to look at lifting 3 times a week and 4 times a week and talk some general numbers. Now, programming is an art. These are general numbers. When it comes to traps and calves and abs and this sort of thing, there's some play with how much work you give them, okay? Because you might have huge calves like me and not need calf work. Or you might not want to do a lot of ab work or trap work. You might just do 3 sets of traps. Some of programming is art, right? It's not all just, you can't just plug in numbers and spit something out. But this will give you a platform to better understand programming and to better create a program. Good quality volume, okay? Good quality volume is going to involve a good exercise selection. That's your first, and that's your platform. You need to focus on the best possible exercises. You need to have a defined progression approach for every exercise you use. So when you go into the gym, you're doing sets that have a purpose. Even if it's dumbbell flies and you're doing 3 sets of 12, it could be auto-regulated progression. When these 3 sets of 12 feel manageable, like I didn't feel close to failure on the last rep of the last set, I'm going to move up in dumbbells. So you have to have some kind of focus for every exercise. And for those of you guys that want to improve your focus, check out my book, Massive Iron. It'll help you a little bit, including things like the rep goal system. But there needs to be a focus and point to every exercise. What you want to do is, by creating a focus and a point to every exercise, you'll be maximizing every set. By maximizing every set, you're maximizing every workout, and you're maximizing you're maximizing your progress. The guys that go into the gym and just start randomly picking and choosing what they're doing and adding volume, and it doesn't have a focus or purpose or point, those are the guys that get in trouble. I'm going to tell you the way I program and how I focus on quality volume rather than junk volume, and then I'm going to break down these numbers. So my programs for major compound movements, and I adjust this for minor, major compound movements, or major body parts, for major body parts like chest, shoulders, back, and quads, I start out with a more intense compound movement. Those are the big hitters like bench press, like deadlifts, like squats, like barbell rows, etc. Overhead presses, the big hitters. For the big hitters, you want to do more intense work with a defined progression scheme. It could be 4x6, it could be 3x5, it could be 4x8. But you want to start off with a big compound movement that's more intense, more taxing, and it has a defined progression approach. Those are the things I program in first. After that, I program in a little bit more volume using a less intense compound movement or machine movement. So for example, you could start with the bench press, maybe 4 sets by 6 or 3 sets by 5, and then you could move on to, say, the incline dumbbell bench press and do 3 by 10 or 4 by 10 or 3 by 12 or 4 by 12. So you're adding a little bit more volume. It's less intense. Now, intensity is weight relative to your 1 rep max. So when I say less intense, I'm not meaning perceived intensity, like how you feel. I'm meaning weight relative to your 1 rep max. It's relatively lighter, but you're still, with this volume work, whether it's a dumbbell bench press or even a machine press, you're going to have a defined progression approach. So I have, let's say you're doing dumbbell bench press. For beginners, I tend to focus them on the rep goal system, which is making every set count. For more intermediate lifters, I have them, push the last set for as many reps as possible. So if they're doing 4 by 10 on dumbbell bench press, they'll use the same weight. Say they're using 70s. They'll do 70s by 10, 70s by 10, 70s by 10, and on the last set, they'll do 70s for as many reps as possible. If that set goes up to like 12 reps, say, then they will add weight the next time. So those volume sets that I'm focusing on have a defined progression approach. They have a very specific focus and purpose. So that's my programming. Start out with the big compound movements with a progression approach. Add volume movements, less impactful compounds or machines for volume with a defined progression approach. And usually I round out after you've beaten yourself up with a more isolation, lighter machine exercise. A lot of times it'll be rest pause or block training or pump training. And you might say, well, and that has a focus on progression as well. The pump training, pump has been shown in studies to potentially have an impact on hypertrophy. So I like to stick that in at the end. So everything I do when I program has a point. We have the big hitting compound movements with progression. We have volume, which is important for hypertrophy with progression. And we have like rest pause, pump work with progression. Quality volume. And if you work all this, all these sets as they should be worked, you're going to walk away from the gym feeling like you put in good quality work. It's going to be challenging, but you'll be able to recover before your next workout. So, how much volume do I program with per body part? Okay, so we're going to look at chest, shoulders, and quads. This is the heaviest, okay? This is about the most quality volume you can squeeze in on a 3 to 4 day a week program. This is max. Generally, I stick with this, and I'm going to show you why. But you could go upwards of this if you're a freak, if you want to train 5 days a week, if you want to get more volume, if you have better recovery and you're younger, you can go this high. 12 to 15 sets max for chest, shoulders, and quads. 15 to 18 max for back. Triceps, hamstrings, and biceps, 6 to 9 max. Traps, calves, and abs, about 6 max. Now, you're going to say, for some of these, I want to do more. What we have to do when we're looking at quality volume is not just look at volume per body part, but we have to look at overall volume per week for all body parts. You can start to cram these up to 20 to 25, and invariably, somebody's going to post a comment where they say they do 20 for chest. If you're doing like 20 for chest, you should be doing 25 for back. And you should be doing a reasonable amount of volume for your quads and shoulders as well. You start adding those numbers up, and you're looking at like 150 sets per week. That can't be quality. You can't be recovering from that. You might say that's quality volume. You might say you're working all those sets to the limit, but you probably are not, and you probably could deal with some refinement. So, looking at a max volume of these for these body parts, 12 to 15, 15 to 18, 6 to 9, and 6. The minimum sets you would do weekly, quality, would be 87, and the max would be 108. Okay, so if you're training 4 days a week, that would be 22 to like 27 sets per body part. That's pretty heavy, and I certainly don't recommend that for the average lifter. If you're younger, you might be able to get away with 20 to 22 sets, quality sets per week, but it's very unlikely. But this is the max I would do in any case for any body part of quality volume. This is more normal. 9 to 12 for chest, shoulders, and quads, 12 to 15 for back, 6 for triceps, hams, and biceps. I might push triceps to 9. Traps, calves, and abs, you could go as high as 6. Generally, 3 is more normal for programming, just for balance. But if you want more trap work, you could add 6. You can make it 6. If you want more calf work, you can make it 6, etc. But with a more normalized volume, quality volume, you're looking at a minimum of 57 sets per week, upwards of 78 sets per week. 78 sets per week for 4-day-a-week training would be just under 20. Obviously, you're going to adjust these a little bit. Minimum would be 57. For 4 days a week training, that would be close to about 15 quality sets a day. Don't be afraid of that. I generally train with 15 to 18 quality sets, maybe 15 to 16 quality sets per day, and it serves me well. Now, if you look at sets per day, 4 days a week training, 3 days a week training, right? If you're doing 15 to 18 sets, this is the general range. Excuse me, let me backtrack. This is the general range I would recommend for you. Quality volume, not junk volume. If you're training 4 days a week, if you're training 3 days a week. If you're training 3 days a week, you might have to increase the daily volume, but you're squeezing in more smaller muscle groups into each training session, so keep that in mind as well. 4 days a week, 15 to 18 sets, quality sets per day. That's 60 to 72 quality sets per week, and that's generally right in this range. That's not a rule, that's a general guideline, and you can adjust as needed. Training 3 days a week, if you're at 18 to 22 sets, which is the range I generally recommend, you're looking at 54 to 66 quality sets per week. Again, these are not rules, they are general guidelines. Each of these body parts you can adjust as you need. You might feel you need more triceps work or more abs or more traps or whatever. But this is a really good starting point, and this would be the red line limiter. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.